All right, let's get right into it. Sometimes the most powerful ideas, the most complete guides for how to live, aren't in some huge, dense book. They're boiled down to a single powerful sentence, a message that just keeps ringing true century after century. Today, we're going to look at one of those.
What's so amazing about this one is how it feels like it could have been written yesterday. And it's not just some nice thought to ponder. No, it's a direct instruction. It's a challenge that was laid down thousands of years ago. And honestly, it asks something of us right here, right now.
And there it is, from the prophet Micah. Just a handful of words, but packed inside them is an entire blueprint for an ethical life. It's so simple you can memorize it in a second, but it's so deep you could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. So let's try to unpack it a little.
Okay, so the very first part of this call points outward. It's about our community, our society, how we deal with every single person we meet. It all starts with justice.
That's the real question, isn't it? We throw that word justice around all the time, but what is this verse actually asking us to do? Well, the biggest clue is right there in the very first word. Act. See, this isn't about feeling just or thinking just thoughts. It is a command to do something. We're talking about real, tangible stuff, how you behave out in the world. It's about what you do when you think no one is watching and what you do when everyone is. So that's the key here. Acting justly is all about our external life. It's how we run our business, how we treat the person pouring our coffee, how we participate in society, how we stand up when things are wrong. It's our public self. But that's really only one part of this puzzle. So let's see how this all builds, because just actions by themselves can actually be pretty cold, right? Even rigid. And the prophet who wrote this knew that. So the very next command turns inward, away from our hands and toward our hearts. Oh, this is such a critical distinction. Kindness can be a polite gesture, something we do because it's socially expected. But this verse is calling for something way, way deeper. And again, the verb they chose gives it all away. Love, it doesn't say show mercy or do mercy. It says to love it. That tells you this isn't supposed to be just a random action, but a core piece of who you are, an internal setting, something you are truly passionate about. And this is where it all clicks together with that first point. Loving mercy is the internal engine. If acting justly is the car, then loving mercy is the fuel that makes the whole thing go. It's the empathy that lets you see someone else's pain, the compassion that actually makes you want to help, and the forgiveness that can break these awful cycles of revenge. Okay, so we have our external actions covered, and our internal motivation. But what holds it all together? What keeps our justice from becoming self-righteous, or our mercy from feeling patronizing? Well, that brings us to the final and maybe most foundational piece of the command. Right. How does this last part lock everything else in place? Well, it gives us perspective. It's the piece that orients everything else, our actions and our heart. And, just like before, the specific word they use here is so telling. Walk. Think about that. This isn't a one-time thing or a fleeting emotion. A walk is a journey. It's a steady, continuous, day in and day out kind of practice. It's a whole way of life, a constant state of being. And there it is, the foundation for everything else. Humility is just knowing we don't have all the answers. It's that spiritual posture that reminds us we are a small part of something so much bigger than ourselves. And that perspective is what keeps our fight for justice honest and our acts of mercy genuine. So just look at how this all fits together so perfectly. Acting justly, that's about our outward actions. Loving mercy, that's about our internal heart. And walking humbly, well, that's about our foundational spirit. It is a totally complete system. It covers what we do, how we feel, and fundamentally, who we are. So when you finally snap these three pieces back together, you don't just have a to-do list. What you have is this dynamic, living, breathing path for a truly meaningful life. It's like a three-legged stool. You take away any one of those legs, and the whole thing just topples over, right? Justice without mercy is just harsh. Mercy without justice, well, it can be pretty ineffective. And without humility, both justice and mercy just become ways to feel good about ourselves. They all need each other to work. And so we end up right back where we started. But those words feel different now, don't they? They're not just three separate commands anymore. You can see how they're a single, elegant instruction for combining what we do with our hands, what we feel in our heart, and what we know in our spirit. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. In the world we live in,
right now, today, which part of this ancient call do you think we need to hear the most? Is it the demand for just action, the appeal for heartfelt mercy, or the reminder to have a humble spirit? Maybe the real challenge is realizing we desperately need all three, all at the same time.